Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Everyday English Podcast, the place where you can practice English every day, easily, naturally, and with confidence. I'm Anna, and today we're exploring something truly powerful and life changing for every English learner, like how to think in English. Many learners can understand English words and grammar, but when it comes to speaking, they often feel stuck. The main reason is that they are still thinking in their first language and then trying to translate into English. This translation takes time and energy, making conversations slow and stressful. So, today I'll show you how to stop translating and start thinking directly in English so you can speak more fluently, understand faster, and feel more confident in every situation. Let's start with why thinking in English matters. When you translate every thought from your native language, your brain has to do double work. First to think, then to translate. But when you think in English, your brain connects ideas, feelings, and English words directly. It becomes more natural and automatic, just like how native speakers think and talk. You don't have to be perfect to start. In fact, thinking in English is not about grammar or big words. It's about small, simple daily thoughts that build your language habit. So, how can you begin? Start small. In the morning, when you wake up, try to think in English. It's a new day. I feel good. Or time for coffee. These short sentences train your brain to stay in English mode. As you move through the day, describe what you see. The sun is bright. People are walking fast, or that food smells delicious. Talking to yourself in English is another powerful habit. You can think, what should I do next? Or, I'm learning every day. The more you practice this, the more natural it feels. You can also use English when you listen and repeat. Listen to podcasts, watch short videos, and repeat what you hear. Try to copy the sound, rhythm, and tone. Over time, your brain will start to process English faster without translation. It's like exercise. Every little practice strengthens your language muscles. Finally, remember that thinking in English is a daily habit, not a one time lesson. You can write short notes in English, set your phone language to English, or just think in English when you are alone. The goal is not perfection, but progress. Step by step, you'll find yourself using English naturally, easily, and confidently. So take a deep breath, believe in your progress, and let's keep learning together, one thought at a time. Why is it so important to learn how to think in English? Many English learners around the world make the same mistake. They try to speak English by translating every word and sentence from their native language. At first, this feels natural because your first language is what you know best. However, when you do this, your brain has to do two jobs at once. First, to form the idea in your own language, and second, to translate it into English. This process takes extra time and often causes hesitation, confusion, or even frustration. You might know the words you want to use, but when you start speaking, you pause, you hesitate, and sometimes you lose confidence. That's because your brain is working too hard switching between languages. When you think directly in English, everything becomes smoother and faster. You don't stop to translate each word. Instead, you understand and express ideas in English automatically. Your brain begins to connect English words to feelings, actions, and pictures rather than to your native language. This is exactly how native speakers communicate. They don't think about grammar rules or translations. They simply think and speak at the same time. By training yourself to think in English, You'll be building stronger and faster connections in your brain that help you understand and respond naturally. It's like teaching your brain a new rhythm. At first, it feels slow and awkward, but with practice, it becomes automatic. Let's imagine a simple example. When you see a cup of coffee, instead of thinking of the word in your language and then translating it to coffee, you train yourself to think coffee instantly. The same goes for feelings. When you're hungry, your brain should immediately think, I'm hungry, not translate it from your native expression. When you do this often, your brain starts to think directly in English for common, everyday situations. You'll notice that you begin to understand spoken English faster too because your brain no longer needs to switch between languages. Another reason thinking in English matters is that it helps you develop a more natural speaking style. Translation often causes sentences to sound unnatural or too formal because languages don't always match word for word. But when you think in English, you start to use the language in the way it's truly spoken. You'll pick up natural expressions, rhythm, and tone without even realizing it. For instance, instead of translating a sentence like, it makes me feel happy in my heart, you might naturally say, that makes me so happy, which sounds much more natural in English. Thinking in English also helps you use idioms, phrasal verbs, and expressions more confidently because you'll start to feel how they fit in real conversation rather than memorizing them like vocabulary lists. Moreover, when you think in English, your listening skills improve. You begin to understand phrases and meanings without needing to translate them word by word. It's like unlocking a new level of comprehension. You'll be able to enjoy English movies, podcasts, and conversations with less effort because your brain will already be processing English as it is, not as a code that needs to be translated. Of course, learning to think in English doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, patience, and daily practice. But even small steps can create big results. Every time you describe what you see, make plans, or talk to yourself in English, you're strengthening this habit. Over time, your brain will stop reaching for your first language and begin to operate naturally in English. This is the key to fluency, not memorizing thousands of grammar rules, but training your mind to think directly in the language. So remember, your goal is not to translate words, but to live and think in English because when your thoughts flow in English, your words will too. How can you start thinking in English? This is one of the most important questions every English learner should ask. Many people want to think directly in English, but they don't know where to begin. The truth is, it doesn't happen in one day. It's a habit you build slowly through daily practice. The key is to start small and make English a natural part of your daily thoughts. You don't need to use difficult grammar or big words at first. The goal is simply to train your brain to choose English automatically. Just like exercising your body, your brain needs consistent, small workouts to grow stronger and faster in English thinking. Start with the simplest thoughts you have every day. When you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking in your first language, try to use English for your first few thoughts. You can say in your mind, it's a beautiful morning, or I need to brush my teeth. When you make breakfast, think, I'm making coffee, or I'm hungry, I'll make some eggs. These short, simple sentences might seem small, but they are very powerful. Every time you think in English, even for a few seconds, your brain gets used to it. The more you do it, the more natural it feels. It's just like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you might lose balance, but after a while, your body remembers how to move without thinking too much. Throughout your day, try to describe what's happening around you using English words. For example, when you're walking outside, you can think, the sky is blue, or that car is very fast. When you're at work or school, you can think, I need to finish this task, or she's talking to her friend. It doesn't matter if your sentences are simple. What matters is that your brain stays active in English. This helps you connect English words to real experiences, not to translations from your native language. Over time, you'll begin to understand English ideas faster because your brain recognizes them directly. Another great way to start thinking in English is to talk to yourself, quietly or in your head. You can pretend you are having a small conversation. For example, ask yourself, what should I do next? Or should I watch a movie tonight? You can also talk about your feelings. I'm tired. I'm excited for tomorrow. Or I'm a little nervous. By doing this, you're creating a habit of forming complete thoughts in English, which is a big step toward fluency. Don't worry about making mistakes when you think to yourself, nobody hears them. The goal is not perfection. The goal is practice and confidence. Listening and repeating are also useful steps. When you listen to English podcasts, short videos, or songs, try to repeat simple phrases or sentences you hear. Copy the rhythm, the sound, and the intonation. This doesn't just improve your pronunciation, it also helps your brain learn how English sentences feel. When you repeat, you're teaching your brain to think in English patterns instead of translating them. For example, if you hear, I'll grab a coffee, and you repeat it naturally, next time when you want coffee, that phrase might just appear in your mind without translation. Lastly, make English part of your environment. Label things in your home with English words, change your phone language to English, or write short notes to yourself in English. You can even make a thinking moment. For example, spend 5 minutes every night reviewing your day in English. Think, what did I do today? What went well? What can I do tomorrow? These short reflections help you practice both thinking and expressing ideas in English. Remember, the secret to thinking in English is not how smart you are or how many grammar rules you know. It's about consistency. Small daily thoughts build big progress. If you practice every day, your brain will soon stop switching between languages. English will become the language of your thoughts, your feelings, and your conversations. So start small, keep going, and watch how naturally your English begins to grow. Another very effective way to start thinking in English is to talk to yourself. This may sound a little strange at first, but it's actually one of the best and fastest methods to train your brain to use English naturally. The good news is that you don't need anyone else for this practice. You are your own best partner. You can talk to yourself quietly, whispering, or even just in your head. The goal is to keep your thoughts flowing in English. For example, when you're getting ready in the morning, you can think or say, what should I wear today? Or, I think I'll go for a walk. When you feel a bit tired, you can say, I'm a bit tired, but I can do it. These simple real life sentences are perfect for everyday English practice. You are training your brain to use English for normal thoughts and situations, not just for study or translation. The more you talk to yourself, the more confident and fluent you'll become. talking to yourself in English also helps you improve your thinking speed. When you think in your native language and translate, you usually pause and hesitate. But when you speak directly in English, even if it's only in your mind, your brain starts to work faster. You get used to forming complete ideas and sentences naturally. Over time, your thoughts will start coming out automatically in English without effort. You can do this anywhere. When you're cooking, walking, or even waiting for the bus, describe what you're doing. I'm washing the dishes, I'm opening the window, or I'm waiting for my friend. These small exercises help you stay mentally active in English all day long. Another great exercise is to describe what you see around you. This is one of the simplest but most powerful ways to connect English to real life. Whenever you look around, try to name or describe the things you notice in English. You can say to yourself, "The sky is clear today," or "That shop looks busy." If you're at a cafe, you might think, "The coffee smells so good," or "There are many people talking here." This kind of practice makes English part of your daily experience. You're not just learning words from a book, you're attaching English words to real objects, actions, and feelings. When you see something new, your brain will automatically try to find the English word for it, which is a great sign that you're beginning to think in English naturally. Describing your surroundings also helps you learn how to express ideas clearly. Instead of memorizing vocabulary lists, you're learning language through real observation. You start to connect English words with emotions, colors, sounds, and textures, just like native speakers do. This method also improves your creativity and confidence because you begin to realize that you can explain almost anything using the words you already know. You don't have to speak perfectly, you just need to express your thoughts as best as you can. The more you do this, the easier it becomes to think and speak fluently without stopping. Finally, one of the most practical techniques to help you think in English is listening and repeating. When you listen to English, maybe from this podcast, a YouTube video, or a movie, try to repeat short phrases and sentences that you hear. Don't just listen passively. Copy the rhythm, tone, and sound of the speaker. When you repeat, you are not only improving your pronunciation, but also training your brain and mouth to work together. It's like exercising your speaking muscles. The more you repeat, the stronger and more flexible your English becomes. Listening and repeating also helps you learn the natural flow of English. You'll begin to notice how native speakers connect words, use stress in sentences, and express emotions with their voice. Try to imitate them, even if it feels funny at first. This shadowing practice helps you internalize English patterns. So when you speak, the right words and sounds will come to you more quickly. Over time, you'll start to think in complete English phrases instead of translating word by word. Remember, thinking in English is not about memorizing grammar. It's about using English actively in your mind, in your daily life, and in your speech. The more you talk to yourself, describe your surroundings, and repeat natural English, the more fluent and confident you'll become, one thought at a time. When you're speaking with someone in English, one of the biggest challenges is trying to find the perfect words. Many learners stop in the middle of a conversation because they are searching for the exact vocabulary or grammar rule. But real communication is not about perfection. It's about expressing your ideas clearly and keeping the conversation natural. When you focus too much on finding the right words, Your mind goes back to your native language and starts translating, which slows you down. Instead, try to think directly in English, using simple words and sentences to share what you mean. Fluency comes from communication, not from perfection. If you forget a specific word, don't panic. This is normal, even for native speakers. Just use another way to explain what you mean. For example, instead of saying, I'm exhausted, you can simply say, I'm really tired. Instead of saying, I'm frustrated, you can say, I'm not happy about that. The meaning stays the same, and the conversation keeps going. This is a very powerful skill called paraphrasing, saying something in a different way. When you practice paraphrasing, you become a more flexible and confident speaker because you learn to communicate even when your vocabulary is limited. During conversations, focus on connection, not translation. Listen carefully to the other person and respond naturally, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Smile, use gestures, and show interest. These things make communication easier and more enjoyable. The more you speak without fear, the more comfortable your mind becomes with thinking in English. Remember, every conversation is practice, and every mistake is part of progress. Thinking in English while you talk helps you stay confident, relaxed, and expressive. And that's what truly matters in communication. Building your English thinking habit is one of the most important steps toward fluency. Thinking in English isn't something that happens suddenly. It's something you build slowly through daily practice. The key is to make English a natural part of your everyday life, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes a day. When you surround yourself with English regularly, your brain begins to treat it as something normal, not as a foreign language. This helps you stay connected to English without feeling like you're studying all the time. The more often you use English in your thoughts and actions, the faster your brain will start thinking in it automatically. You can start by adding English to small parts of your daily routine. For example, when you go for a walk, listen to a short English podcast or an audio story. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Just focus on the main ideas and the sound of the language. When you're at home, try writing a short journal entry in English. You can write about your day, your plans, or even your feelings. Writing helps you organize your thoughts directly in English and improves both your vocabulary and confidence. You can also practice thinking in English while doing simple activities like cooking, cleaning, or exercising. Describe what you're doing in your mind. I'm washing the dishes, I'm chopping vegetables, or I'm almost finished. This turns ordinary moments into language practice. Another great tip is to set your phone, social media, or computer to English. This small change forces you to read and understand English naturally every time you use your devices. At first, it might feel strange or tiring, but over time, your brain will adapt. English will start to appear in your thoughts without any effort. You'll find yourself describing things, making decisions, and even dreaming in English. That's the true sign of fluency, when English becomes part of your everyday thinking. So don't wait for perfect conditions. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how your brain slowly transforms English from something you study into something you live. As we come to the end of this episode, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've learned about thinking in English. Thinking in English isn't about being perfect. It's about building a strong habit, step by step. Many learners believe that fluency comes only from knowing advanced grammar or big vocabulary, But true fluency comes from something simpler: consistency. When you make English a natural part of your thoughts, it becomes more than just a subject you study. It becomes a language you live. You start noticing that English words come to you faster, your ideas flow more clearly, and conversations feel more natural. It's not magic, it's the result of practice and patience. Building this habit might feel slow in the beginning, but every small effort adds up. Each time you describe what you're doing, listen to a podcast, or write a few sentences in English, you're training your brain to think differently. You're building new connections between ideas and words in English, which helps you speak more smoothly and understand others more easily. It's just like exercising. One short workout doesn't make you strong, but daily practice over time changes everything. The same is true with language. Even 5 minutes of English thinking a day can make a huge difference if you stay consistent. Thinking in English also changes your confidence. When you stop worrying about translation and focus on expression, you begin to feel more comfortable and relaxed when speaking. You stop judging yourself for mistakes and start communicating with meaning. And that's what real communication is: expressing who you are and what you think, not using perfect grammar every time. Remember, even native speakers make small mistakes, but that never stops them from speaking. You should give yourself that same freedom. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. So make English a part of your life wherever you can. Think in English when you're walking, cleaning, or relaxing. Listen to music and podcasts, talk to yourself, or write a small note in English before bed. These little actions build powerful habits that help you think and speak naturally over time. The more you surround yourself with English, the easier it becomes to use it without effort. Thinking in English is not just about learning a language, it's about changing the way your mind works. You're not only learning new words, you're learning a new way to see and describe the world. So be patient, stay positive, and enjoy the journey. Remember to practice every single day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Every thought in English is one step closer to fluency. You're not just learning English, you're living it. Thank you so much for listening to the Everyday English podcast. I hope today's episode helped you take one more step toward thinking and living in English. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow, share, and come back tomorrow for more natural English practice. And always remember, keep thinking, keep speaking, and keep growing in English. See you next